allegiance of India and the killing of a Sikh separatist. So my first question is, very simply, is there any evidence that you've seen in the government that points to Indian government indirect or direct involvement with the killing of that Sikh?
In this case?
Yes.
No.
None. Do you believe he's a terrorist?
You know, he has a track record which is there in the social media, and that track record is a pretty graphic one. So I would leave everybody to make their judgment when, you know, about a person whose pictures are there with weapons, who has taken positions. I mean, the positions are not secret, they are very public positions.
Yeah.
But my response, you know, to what Prime Minister Trudeau said is that we have told the Canadians, look, I mean, first of all, because you got to understand the context. The context is that in Canada, we feel that the Canadian politics has given space to violent and extreme political opinions which advocate separatism from India, including through violent means. And these people have been accommodated in Canadian politics. They are given the freedom to articulate their views. And not just that, it had come to a situation where the diplomats of my country, including the High Commissioner, we've had attacks on the High Commission, smoke bombs thrown at the High Commission. You know, he has a track record which is there in the social media, and that track record is a pretty graphic one. So I would leave everybody to make their judgment when, you know, about a person whose pictures are there with weapons, who has taken positions. I mean, the positions are not secret, they are very public positions.
Yeah.
There is a previous history. You know, for those who would be familiar with Lockerbie, we had a much bigger incident when an Air India plane, there were bombs put, in fact, on two planes. One fortunately landed before when the bomb went off, but the other one, there were 327 people who died when the plane crashed off Ireland. So given all this, I think it was important that you know, a country like Canada, I mean, we are a democracy, we are a democracy, they are a democracy. But freedom of speech and freedom of expression also comes with a certain responsibility, and the misuse of those freedoms and the toleration of that misuse for political purposes would be, to our mind, very wrong.
Well, that was the word that was coming in from India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, clarifying that ever since these allegations were made by the Canadian authorities, there has been no evidence to substantiate any of these allegations. The larger question is, doesn't it continue to be extremely embarrassing for Canada? And also, where does it leave the ties between both the countries? Let me also now bring in our colleague Siddhant, who's been keeping a close eye on those developments. And Siddhant, the External Affairs Minister not speaking for the first time, India's position has been clear that yes, if you make these allegations on a public platform, they need to be substantiated with evidence. Where really is the evidence? Doesn't it become growingly embarrassing for Canada to continue making these allegations, continue with that narrative, but no evidence to be shown?
Absolutely, Ridhima. In fact, this is what EM Jaishankar has been saying on wherever he goes, like perhaps if he attends any public event, this question is asked to him, and he each time around he said it loud and clear that India is ready to join the probe.
Yeah.
What else world expects from India?
Yeah.
And in fact, I would also like to take our viewers to the first press conference of MEA spokesperson person Arindam Bagchi right after this diplomatic standoff which was triggered by Justin Trudeau. In that first press conference, he was very clear that we are ready to join the probe. We are ready to cooperate. Now, the fault is on their end. Since all these Five Eyes alliance nations are saying that there is credible allegation or evidence, whatever they are calling it. But when India asks for the same, then none of these credible allegations or evidence, quote unquote, has ever been shared with the Indian side. And that is perhaps the reason that is making situation even more complicated. And also, Ridhima, allow me to add one more very important point.
Sure.
What happened on 12th of November, that was a live certificate distribution camp. You know, that perhaps makes life easier of all these elderly people settled in Canada.
Sure.
They have served in government of India. You know, now it's time for them to draw pensions and other benefits. So this certificate perhaps is a proof that they are alive and they can draw the benefits. Now it's a routine exercise. That exercise was also disrupted by Khalistani elements. And in fact, you know, Arindam Bagchi also confirmed it, that it was disrupted. But the process went smoothly because of the police presence. And now this fresh threat has come from Sikhs for Justice and other groups that now they have asked people to boycott the other camps, and also they have threatened people not to go and participate in it.
That's the larger question that we want to discuss, Siddhant, which is after these allegations were made and there was a lot of global pressure that was mounted on Canada that, okay, if you're making these allegations, you need to put out the evidence as well. Otherwise, this will further put a strain as far as ties between India and Canada are concerned. One would have imagined that this would also become an opportunity for Canada to look inwards to try and find out what's happening on their soil. Let's go back at least 1 week in time. An event on Diwali in Brampton where there were separatist activities that were reported. Then there was an episode that was reported with the Indian High Commission. That event was interrupted as well. So despite all these events coming to light, the larger question is the local authorities, the police continues to be a mute spectator and no response from the Canadian authorities as well.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, I would also like to draw attention to a quote given by Indian High Commissioner to Canada, Sanjay Verma, to a newspaper, and he said that in his quote that providing security to Indian diplomats doesn't assure safety for the diplomats, and that is how the situation has become in Canada. And as Ridhima rightly pointed out, in fact, there have been multiple dossiers that have been handed over to the Canadian authorities. There are, to the best of my knowledge, more than 20 such gangsters, criminals, those who are carrying red corner notices against them, comfortably operating from Canada, and perhaps, you know, executing murders and killings.
Siddhant, I just apologize for interrupting. We'll just request Siddhant to stay on with us. We want to take in a word from some former diplomats as well. Former diplomat KB Fabian is also now joining us. So good to have you with us here on CNN News 18. How do you see the response that has come in from the Indian side? The Indian External Affairs Minister reiterating a position that India has had in the past, that we don't have any issue as far as joining the probe is concerned, but when Canada make these allegations, at least some evidence should be put out in the public domain.
Well, that is what the External Affairs Minister has said more than once. At the same time, we do know that even before the G20 summit, the Canadian National Security Advisor Jodie Thomas, she had come to India 3 times, including at the time of the G20. And we also know that she has had her meetings with her counterparts. So one wonders what those meetings were about. But so there is a little, things are a little difficult to understand, But all that we can take note is that despite Dr. Jaishankar saying this, and despite our High Commissioner saying the same thing, Canada has not publicly come out with any answer to that question. So it is very intriguing.
And so from the perspective of a former diplomat, where does it leave ties between both the countries? Because I don't remember the last time when a country came out in a public manner, made such serious allegations and continued to stick to its stand without putting any evidence. And despite all of that, post those allegations also, there have been various other separate episodes of separatist activities that have also been reported on the Canadian soil. So a lot of criticism coming the Canadian authorities' way as well as to why they continue to turn a mute spectator as far as these separatist activities are concerned.
I will only make 3 points. One is that Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau did not do the right thing. when he made that statement in the House of Commons. Second is that Canada has not yet discharged its obligations under the Vienna Convention as regards, security for the diplomatic missions and all that. But the third, and this is the most important point, it is important for both sides, both Canada and India, to start taking measures to de-escalate the tension.
Sir, I also want to understand, considering the fact no evidence still has been put forth, it's been almost 2 months and these separate episodes have also been reported, how do you see the ties between both the countries going forward?
Well, as I said, unless the two countries seriously start taking action to de-escalate, things will get much worse before they get better.
Things will get much worse before they get better. Okay, we'll have to leave that conversation there. So that's the word that's coming in from a lot of former diplomats also, that even they fail to understand a similar example that could have happened in the past, where countries have come out in the public domain, made such serious allegations and failed to provide any evidence. Our colleague Siddhant continues to be with us. Sorry, Siddhant, we had to interrupt you earlier. But even former diplomats, if you ask them that if they remember of any such situation in the past, they say they fail, the memory fails them because they don't remember of something happening so publicly. What are experts on the ground, you've been speaking to a lot of people, tell you, how do they see relations between both the countries going forward?
Well, we were quite aware of tensions between India and Canada, and perhaps that was quite evident also, because each time around there were dossiers which India used to send to Canada and tell them that act against these groups, these criminals, they belong to so-and-so gangs, but not once Ridhima action has been taken by the authorities in Canada. And perhaps it's kind of a free run that has been given by the government of Canada, and Indian government has been flagging it off time and again. Now when they are making allegations on India, and perhaps they have made it openly, and even a lot of experts would agree to this, Ridhima, that even if there is some issue or something which has come to the knowledge of the intel agency, but that can be handled through a back channel talks or through by developing a better understanding rather than starting a fresh diplomatic standoff, because relations take years to perhaps mature. And Mr. Trudeau has not just derailed Canada's relations with India, but also derailed his own country's Indo-Pacific strategy. That perhaps reflects badly on him and him as a visionary leader. So that is one thing, and the other and the most important one is that now when India has agreed to join the probe, there is no evidence that has been shared with India. So that is something which raises doubt. Even Ridhima, you listen what their own leaders are saying. They are raising doubts on Justin Trudeau, what he said.
It's not just the global pressure. There is a lot of voices within the Canada's opposition also coming in, questioning the intent of Justin Trudeau, which takes us to the larger question. Why did Justin Trudeau want to go forward with a move like this or make an allegation like this? Was it just convenience of vote banks, or was it a lot more than what meets the eye?
No, that is just a convenience of a vote bank politics. Mr. Trudeau is running a minority government. He is being supported by Mr. Jagmeet Singh, and he sees his future, political future, secured if he does get involved in such kind of low-level vote bank politics, and that is what exactly he is doing. Perhaps providing them a free run. The posters are. In which country the diplomats are being threatened openly? And I still remember when a foreign journalist asked this question to External Affairs Minister Jay Shankar in New York or in America somewhere, he said that, look, I have a situation where my diplomats are feeling unsafe to go to the Foreign Office, to go to the High Commission. Now, how do you expect India to operate and perhaps issue visas? So that was the concern which India has been talking about on international stage, because at some stage, Ridhima, you see that all these countries join hands and perhaps make statements against India. All these Anglo-spheric countries.
Siddhant, I just request you to stay on with us. Just stay on with us. We also want to bring in some other reactions from some other former diplomats. We also have Suresh Kumar Goyal also now joining us on the broadcast. Good to have you with us here on CNN News 18. How do you see the reaction that is coming from India, the word that is coming from India's External Affairs Minister, India making it clear once more that we have no issues in terms of joining the probe as far as Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing is concerned. But Canada, who made these allegations, still has failed to put out any evidence. Where does it leave Canada in such a situation?
very clear right from the beginning that if Canada is prepared to share evidence with India, then we are prepared to really carry on the investigation on the basis of information shared by Canada. But they have not done that so far. They have actually just made an issue of the whole thing in the Parliament by making a statement in the Parliament without any evidence, without any basis, really speaking. And then on the top of that, and making the kind of encouraging a kind of a situation which is making it really threatening for our embassy and the personnel is not tenable at all. Therefore, if Canada is serious about the whole issue, it has to share the evidence.
Yeah.
We can carry on the probe in the manner that the diplomatic relations, the diplomatic interactions are conducted. And
Sure.
if the probe does prove anything, we will take action on it. But till that time, I think Canada has to focus. And I will not say Canada. I will say most likely it is the Prime Minister Trudeau and the government. They have to basically focus on what they want from the relationship in India.
Yeah. So this is something I was just asking my colleague also a short while ago, and as you are also rightly pointing out that more than this being seen as a move by Canada, this is a move that should be seen as coming from Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister. And over the last 2 months, many experts have tried to rationalize what really led Justin Trudeau to make a comment like this so openly, so publicly. So was it just convenience or vote bank politics? That is why they continue to turn an eye on activities in terms of extremist elements that are still working on their soil?
I'm not going to speculate whether this is a vote bank politics or what is the agenda behind all this. But the fact is that actions taken by Trudeau and what he has said, the statements made by Trudeau, they are completely against international norms. Internationally, I mean, if the relationship with India is so insignificant, it doesn't matter for you, then you go ahead and do whatever you want.
Sure.
But I assume that for Canada, Indian relationship is important.
Yeah.
And therefore, we certainly expect a certain kind of behavior,
Sure.
responsible behavior from Canada, which is not happening.
Okay. So we'll have to leave that conversation there. Appreciate you joining us here on CNN News 18. Would like to thank our colleague Siddhant as well. This is a story that we'll keep tracking very, very closely. For now, we do have to slip into a very short break.
Bad as it was expected, the AQI out here in the national capital remains to be in the very poor category, although the measures of GRAP 4 has been implemented. But yes, the manner in which the order of the Supreme Court of not bursting crackers was flouted by several people out here in the national capital, that has made sure that the AQI deteriorates yet again. But if you compare the AQI that is today, the very next day post Diwali, with the yesteryears, you can actually see that the AQI is not as bad as it was expected, and in fact it has somewhere or the other been better than what it was last year at this time around. Also, what we have seen that yes, there were several people who had flouted the norms and had gone ahead and busted crackers through the night on the day of Diwali. But yes, today the AQI has definitely deteriorated, but it is not as bad as it can be seen. On the other hand, we have seen a lot of politics that has already started to happen in this entire matter. The opposition leaders are already coming on record and putting blame on the BJP leaders because they were the people who instigated people to go ahead and burst these crackers. So yes, the political blame game has already started. But if you speak about the AQI has definitely deteriorated post Diwali, but it is not as bad as it was over the last many years right after the day of Diwali. Currently I am reporting from Akshardham temple, where I could just show you in the visuals around here that yet again today a cloud of smog has yet again engulfed the national capital. Remember, over the weekend we saw that there were spells of rain, which meant that the AQI in the national capital had improved significantly. But post Diwali, yet again we are seeing that the AQI in the national capital has yet again deteriorated. The main reason behind this is being said to be the manner in which the norms were flouted by the residents of the national capital even after the orders of the Supreme Court, which meant that there was a blanket ban on bursting of any sort of crackers. That was flouted significantly out here in the national capital, and that is the reason why we are seeing that the AQI out here has yet again deteriorated. Over the next few days, the IMD predicts that the AQI might improve due to the wind conditions, but if you look at the longer run over the next 1 week, the AQI is yet again going to get back into the severe category, which means that it is yet again going to be a troublesome time for the people out here in the national capital region, where yet again they would be forced to breathe in the toxic air. Now what remains to be seen as to what new arrangements or schemes can be made by the government to make sure that the AQI remains under breathable levels, because over the past 1 week we have seen that the AQI had deteriorated, which meant that there were a lot of health issues that people of the national capital were actually facing. So the next 1 week is going to be very, very important, especially from the point of view of the Delhi government and the Delhi administration, to make sure that schemes are made and implemented in such a way that the AQI remains under control and it does not become hazardous for the people out here in the national capital.
जैसा दिल्ली सरकार ने कहा था कि फायर क्रैकर्स बर्न नहीं करने, लेकिन उस हिसाब से फायर क्रैकर्स बहुत ज़्यादा जलाए गए हैं दिल्ली में। जहाँ मैं रहता हूँ वहाँ भी मेरे को बहुत देखने को मिला ये, तो मैं परेशान होकर रात को सो नहीं पाया, फिर सुबह साइकिलिंग करने निकल गया। जब से ये न्यूज़ आई थी पराली जल रही है, तो तब से मैं निकलता हूँ फील करने के लिए कि क्या वेदर में चेंज हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है, बट हुआ है चेंज।
ये मतलब पोल्यूशन का ही है ज़्यादा, तो यहीं से तो बाकी तो सब बढ़िया है। ऐसा मास्क वगैरह भी नहीं लेके आए हम, उधर क्या सब कुछ ठीक है, यहीं पे थोड़ा सा परेशानी है।
After the relief that people of the national capital got just a few days ago, after light spells of rains had engulfed the national capital, which meant that the AQI had come down significantly and was hovering in the poor category. Now post Diwali, we are seeing that the AQI has again deteriorated. Currently I am reporting from Kartavyapath, and just move to the frame and try and show you in the visuals over here that another layer of smog has yet again engulfed the national capital. But remember, this is not only smog, but what experts are saying that there is element of fog that is also in these visuals that you are seeing on your screens right now. So yes, the AQI has deteriorated after Diwali, but remember the AQI was already in the severe category at least 2 to 3 days ago, and today as well the AQI is still hovering within the very poor to poor category, but yet it is still very, very difficult for people to breathe out here. Remember the manner in which the Supreme Court orders of not bursting any sort of crackers was flouted yesterday.
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Nation at 5 here at CNN News 18. We have some breaking developments now coming in. And this is in regard with India's unbeaten streak. Remember, India beat New Zealand yesterday to continue with their unbeaten record as far as the World Cup for 2023 is concerned. But in the middle of all the excitement and cheering, Mohammad Shami became a recipient of massive trolling. And the reason now we're understanding is that this is just frustration of Pakistan coming out. Intel sources telling us here at CNN News 18 that this is a frustrated Pakistan trying to use the religion card to ensure that the morale of the players is beaten. Remember, Mohammad Shami had a 7-wicket haul in that match yesterday, which led to India entering the finals. He even spoke about it by the time the match ended, that when he in fact had dropped the catch in the first innings, he felt extremely dejected, but then he came back with that 7-wicket haul and was happy that the men in blue in fact could enter the finals. Let's also now bring in our colleague K. Srinivas Rao, who's in fact joining us on the broadcast. Not really the first time that we've seen this sort of reaction on social media or trolling for Mohammad Shami. Even as, experts talk about all the time that religion is something that is usually kept outside the world of sports, players like Mohammad Shami unfortunately become collateral damage. And that's exactly what we saw even happening yesterday.
Of course, there's nothing new. I mean, keeping just this tournament in mind, we've seen that clickbaits at any given time has been tried to use as some sort of controversy creating mechanics. And Mohammad Shami is just one in a long list. That we are using different balls, we are using different pitches, we are using different. I don't know what. I mean, so it's been a never-ending. Rona Dhona from their side, and bringing Mohammad Shami, his faith and everything into the scene is again, it's just a continuation of the kind of mindset that they carried. By the way, I mean, you look at it ever since preparations for this World Cup began. What were they under? So or not World Cup. You look at it from the Asia Cup time. Was there any secret in the fact that India does not want to travel to Pakistan? It doesn't matter whether it's Asia Cup, it doesn't matter whether it's the World Cup, it doesn't matter whether it's the Champions Trophy. The categorical clear view is that India doesn't want to travel to Pakistan. Now, if India doesn't travel, there is no Asia Cup. Asia Cup will never happen. If Asia Cup doesn't happen, whose loss is it? It is not India's loss. It is the Pakistan Cricket Board that will be close to bankruptcy. So because of that, the BCCI obliged saying, all right, I don't mind playing, the Asia Cup, but it will not be in Pakistan, it will be at a neutral venue. Which their chairman inside the room agreed, and I can tell you this with absolute amount of authority. Inside the room he agreed, he came out of the room, he saw a bunch of media there, and he goes and tells the media, no, their guys are agreed to come to Pakistan, to come to the Asia Cup. Why? Because for him, it is their media, he wants to earn some stupid brownie point. And holding India there as a catalyst to, kind of earn that brownie point. And that kind of a mindset has prevailed throughout. At any given time,
Srinivas, as you're pointing out, that this really wasn't the first time that these players are becoming collateral damage or the recipient of such trolling. The larger point is how much it does have an impact on the morale or, the performance of the player, just if you have all of this in the backdrop.
Look at their team, the Pakistan Cricket Board, their very cricket board is supremely and absolutely responsible for killing their own team's morale. You look at the kind of statements that have been given in the middle of the tournament. Why are we blaming them about being careless about India when they don't even care about their own team? I feel bad. I feel bad for a Babar Azam and a Shaheen Shah Afridi, really talented boys, for no fault of theirs. They have been kind of made to feel as if they were working against the interests of Pakistan. You see how Pakistan Cricket Board itself has pandered to the whole rumor and fueled it about, there being a split in this team and they not getting along with each other. The Pakistan Cricket Board, in fact, was stupid enough to release a statement bang in the middle of the tournament when Pakistan was still waiting for their chance to actually try and qualify. They didn't even wait for that. They came out with a stupid statement that talked about how they were waiting for this Pakistan team to come back before certain changes would be looked at. At least let the World Cup get over. That is how pathetic the cricket board has been. And now the thing is, then they said our media is not being given a chance to come. 6 or 7 of the top Pakistani journalists, and I know because I've covered a lot of cricket involving Pakistan. I've been to Pakistan to cover cricket. So they are top journalists. Nobody can say has not been allowed to come to India. They have come to India. They have all gone back. You follow their Twitter handles. They have all gone back saying that their stay, their tour, their World Cup campaign was absolutely memorable. And these are good journalists. Who covered serious cricket. They're not click-based journalists. So the noise that is being made.
So
is
just
by people
noise, as
on
you're
social
rightly
media
pointing
and
out,
YouTube.
which is just unfortunate. And it's unfortunate religion is brought up in a sport which is usually called the gentleman's game. But Srinivas, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Let's not move on to happier things. Let's talk about what the men in blue managed to achieve in that match against New Zealand. They managed a win, and how. Multiple world records that were in fact broken. There was a record that was broken by Virat Kohli. He broke Sachin Tendulkar's record, and in fact on a day when Sachin Tendulkar was in the stands at Wankhede in Mumbai. Then of course that fantastic 7-wicket haul that came from Mohammad Shami, which ensured that the men in blues will now see us in the finals, which will happen at the Botera Stadium in Ahmedabad. So lots to look forward to. We'll know by the end of the day who India will be taking on in that final. So there's a lot of excitement that's coming in. We'll play out some reactions, but we do have a world exclusive to play as well. He's a legend and he's in India. David Beckham had an exclusive conversation with our colleague Anasuya. He spoke about his visit to India and also who he was rooting for when he was watching that match between India and New Zealand. Let's take a look.
And cricket fans are in for a double treat because you're going to be watching the semi-final, the India versus New Zealand match. That's how you're spending your day in Mumbai. Is this the first time that you're watching a Cricket World Cup match?
It's the first time I've seen a Cricket World Cup match live. Obviously, I've followed cricket over the years. You know, obviously being in Manchester and having a roommate like Gary Neville. Gary Neville was a huge cricketer, and actually him and his brother could have gone on to be professional. But they chose football instead. So I always used to watch cricket with Gary because he was my roommate. But, you know, obviously being in Mumbai for this game today, for me, you can already feel the energy. You can feel the excitement. I think the energy and the excitement is going to be totally different to be in, you know, a cricket match in a different place. I'm very excited about that. So yeah, I grew up around, you know, cricketers like Viv Richards and, you know, Ian Botham and all of these great players like Brian Lara and obviously Sachin. So, you know, I'm very excited about today.
This was fantastic experience. We had such a great time and we had already booked tickets for Ahmedabad. So here we come, Ahmedabad, all the way. India! Jeetega, bhai, jeetega! India! Jeetega! Jeetega, bhai, jeetega! India!
One of the main keys, हमारे bowlers बहुत अच्छे हैं और बहुत ही amazing batting. What talent we've got. और विराट he's proved he is the GOAT and बहुत ही अच्छा, बहुत ही जब स्लो खेलना है तब स्लो खेले हैं, जब बड़े छक्के मारने हैं तब बड़े छक्के मारे हैं. They have planned the innings so well. रोहित शर्मा आके एग्रेसिव स्टार्ट देते हैं और कोहली एक शीट एंकर का रोल प्ले कर रहे हैं एंड फाइनल में रोहित शर्मा की सेंचुरी जरूर होगी एंड वी वांट अ सेंचुरी फ्रॉम रोहित शर्मा एंड विराट कोहली और ये जरूर होगी.
Kunal, did you enjoy today's match?
Of course I did.
You are going to Ahmedabad for a final match?
I wish I can. I probably will be watching it with friends.
So what do you think we will come against? Will come South Africa or Australia?
That I don't know, but I just know that we'll bring home the World Cup again.
So what's your wish for the Virat Kohli today's historic
It was a
match?
brilliant knock. Shami and Virat were the stars of the day, but I mean all around, even Shreyas played an amazing inning. It was great. It was great watching.
What about Mumbai's man Shreyas Iyer?
Sorry?
What about the Shreyas Iyer?
He was amazing. His knock was amazing.
And staying with the world of sports, and let's talk about this match a little more. As we said, even as fans, not just in India but across the world, were celebrating India's fantastic win against New Zealand, many in Pakistan in what looked like were having a meltdown. A comment of a former Pakistani cricketer who seemed to have started some conspiracy theories haven't really gone down well with experts and fans at large. Now, the comment that came from this former Pakistani cricketer was that possibly there was some sort of fixing that was done, not just in the matches but in the tosses themselves. And this is what he said. He said this is a conspiracy theory that he thinks is plausible. He questioned the way or the mannerism in which India's captain Rohit Sharma in fact flipped the coin for a toss, suggesting that the other captain is at a distance from the coin that is flipped and is unable to see where the coin actually lands. Now, of course, this has been criticized not just by experts in Pakistan but across the world as well, as to why should you even get conspiracy theories of such magnitude, and why should you not just enjoy the game for what it is. Many reactions coming in from other former Pakistan cricketers like Wasim Akram and others, who in fact have gone on to say that we even shouldn't be entertaining comments like these. Let's take a look at some reactions coming in.
मैं एक चीज सवाल कर रहा हूँ, अगर हम दिखा सकें टॉस के वक्त,
खत्म हो गया टाइम हमारे पास, जल्दी।
रोहित शर्मा जब टॉस करते हैं वो दूर फेंकते हैं जी, और दूसरा कैप्टन जाके कभी नहीं देखता कि वो सही उसने कॉल।
ठीक है।
We're also opening our call-in lines. Numbers are flashing on your screens. What do you think of these comments that were made by the former Pakistan cricketer? Does this really say much as far as what is called a gentleman's game? Do call us, tell us what you feel. Before we wait and get in some callers, let's also get our colleague back, Srinivas Rao, who continues to be with us. Srinivas, this is something that we were discussing a short while ago as well. It's called the gentleman's game. But how do you see the kind of reactions that are coming in, call it conspiracy theories, criticism, whatever? How did you see those comments?
Gentleman's game? I don't think anymore. Gentlemen stopped playing this game a long time ago. I was just listening to you talking about, you know, the toss and the coin thing of Rohit Sharma thing. So yeah, I mean, what do you want? Like, now you might as well draw a circle and put a new rule that the coin must fall inside that circle and can't go out, you know. I mean, stupid people, stupid rules, stupid line of thinking. I don't know where they're coming from. The other day, one of their ex-cricketers said that India is using a different ball. India is being given a different ball. I mean, then it's like about some other guys, not Pakistanis this time, some other one saying that we have a different pitch. Boss, 2015, 2019 World Cup, right? 2015 we played in the semi-final. 2019 we played in the semi-final. 2019, in fact, our batter was the highest scorer, highest number of centuries in the semi-final in the World Cup. Do these people forget these statistics? India has time and again dominated world cricket, back-to-back, kind of test series wins in Australia. What they have accomplished as a team on tours of England, where is Pakistan even coming from? Do they even have an idea of what they are talking about, you know, where this Indian team is coming from, purely in terms of performances? So it is degrading the fact that you have to, you know, so I mean, tomorrow you're going to say even the ICC is hand in gloves with India, and then if ICC is hand in gloves with India, then we should be hosting every World Cup, including the 2025 Champions Trophy.
I just want to understand when, you know, people like these make comments like these. Okay, Srinivas, I'll just request you to stay on with us because we're getting some callers as well. We have a caller from Lucknow. We have Rajesh now joining us here on CNN News 18. Rajesh, good evening. Good to have you with us on this broadcast. What do you feel of these comments that have come in from Pakistan?
They always ran this, you know, good evening, happy Diwali to all of you. And India has extremely performed very well for the last for last 1 month and so, in fact, in all batting, bowling and this. As far as the comments are concerned, see, those who are always crying, cribbing, they'll always think like that, I feel. So let us not pay attention to these people. They always do it once they lose.
Okay, Rajesh, we appreciate you calling us here on CNN News 18. Let me go back to Srinivas. Srinivas, essentially what I was asking was, when these comments come where they want to talk about a match being fixed, or, you know, the teams fixing their matches with players, or this being a conspiracy theory, do you think we should just ignore them? Do you think possibly a lot of attention is being given to them and they should just completely be ignored?
Of course, it should be ignored. You know, half the times they're doing it for clickbait journalism. Just for example, you know, look at the good shows that they have. Like, for example, we have appreciated as Indians. You know, there is a show in which Misbah-ul Haq, Wasim Akram, and another cricketer or two of them participate. Okay, that's a purely cricketing show in which they really talk about what went right or what went wrong for a team, post-match, pre-match analysis they do. And it's a very strong cricketing show. They never talk nonsense like, you know, on these other shows which has people like Abdul Razak and Sikandar Baq who talk about, you know, some actor from India, or one idiot talks about, you know, the toss and where the coin falls. mean, there are serious cricketing shows too, and that is well respected in the Indian fraternity. And I know of a news anchor in Pakistan who does a serious cricketing show, and that they are well respected in the fraternity. Even sometimes even players, when they get the time, they listen to it. From time to time, but not random run of the mill nonsense like this. And obviously, this is clickbait, just trying to get some sort of engagement. By the way, let me tell you this. I was saying this in another show of ours on News 18, where I said that since 1992, Pakistan is all that they have tried to do is, try to show how mercurial they are, underdogs, perennial underdogs. They can do anything at the last minute, surprise the opposition. Whereas modern day sport is all about preparation, coming to the coming to a tournament with a certain mindset, certain positivity. These guys bring nothing of that sort to the table. Every time it's like, oh, we are wounded tigers, we are cornered tigers, we are these tigers, we are that tigers, we are mercurial, we may win 10 matches, lose 10 matches, but win the 11th game. You never know what we'll do. I mean, you don't do this in today's day and age when modern day sport is concerned. You talk about preparation and mindset and positivity. You don't talk like this. So, in a way, it talks about what kind of mental age you carry.
But Srinivas, what I essentially want to understand is, you said a short while ago that all of this is just done because they want some cheap publicity, attention, it's clickbait. But the irony of all of this is that even in Pakistan, they're not getting the kind of attention. Even if you look at the reactions that have come in from former cricketers like Shoaib Malik or Wasim Akram, they've all gone on to criticize comments like these, saying that this should not even be entertained. So as far as even attention is concerned, it's not happening even on a domestic level.
No, but that is the attention they want. So, for example, there are people abusing them on social media platforms. They are okay with the abuse because that is their way of saying that at least people are watching us. See, that is what the way to do it, the way to go about it is just ignore these people. Because they are enjoying and they are soaking in the whole clickbait jingoism which is happening around the nonsense that comes out of their mouths. So, for example, they use an actress's name, in the popular India actor's name, to talk rubbish. And even when people are abusing them, they are actually soaking in the fact that people are, must have watched it and that is why they are abusing them. So it is that kind of a filthy mindset that is doing the rounds. So the same people in Pakistan who are talking the really good
I'll just request you to stay on because we have some callers waiting. We have Shivraj, in fact, joining us from Raichur. Shivraj, good to have you with us here on CNN News 18. What do you feel of these comments that have come in from Pakistan?
Madam, this is absolutely silly comments they have made on the game. Yesterday, what India has played, it is absolutely in a sportsmanship. They have won the match. See, winning and losing is a part of game, ma'am. But making this type of silly comment that shows what sort of spirit you have towards cricket. So that's what we think. Whatever the statement they are making on India's win, it is absolutely absurd and it is silly. Being a ex-cricketer, he should not tell so. He should respect the win of the India. That's what we feel, ma'am. It is absolutely silly and it is absurd. No doubt in that.
Shivraj, we appreciate you calling us here at CNN News 18. And Srinivas, even the common man finds it absolutely absurd that there is no head or tail in terms of these comments that are being made. But the fact is that these are not isolated comments. This comment that was made on a conspiracy theory where Rohit Sharma throws the coin, or whether it was mentioning the name of an Indian actress, or even the comment that came from Ramiz Raja yesterday, which in fact has been adequately responded by designer Masaba. How do you think that shows them on a public platform?
You know what? These are not the random comments which are coming from fans. These are not random comments which are just coming from anyone. People who have made these comments are some of the biggest names in Pakistan cricket. And by the way, these are not, so this is with regards only to cricket, right? You see what happened when the Chandrayaan happened. The Chandrayaan launch happened, the successful Chandrayaan launch, and even the one earlier, Pakistan was waiting to, I see these comments coming in, they're waiting to see that, like, where can they nitpick, where can they, and when the successful launch happened, then they had nothing to say. So then it was about, oh, look how Pakistanis are cool when it comes to humor. How cool they are when it comes to accepting. You're not doing anybody a favor with your humor. You're not doing anybody a favor with your acceptance. I'm sorry to say, there are good people, but what happens is the stupid
Yeah.
noise is so loud that
Yeah.
the good ones actually kind of get shrouded by it.
I think you've
There
summed
are
it up
same-
really well, that it's just the stupid noise that continues, that even actually takes away the good comments, the good voices that are on the ground, and that is the kind of filter that we should be able to make. Srinivas, we'll have to leave that conversation there. We'll keep tracking all those developments. As we said, all of us now rooting for India as they've entered the finals, and the final will be happening at the Motera Stadium come this weekend in Ahmedabad. We'll keep tracking all those developments. For now, slipping into a very short break.
Cases that were seen out here in the national capital, where this order of the Supreme Court of not bursting any sort of cracker was definitely flouted. In fact, the fire department itself had got more than 100 calls till 10 p.m. itself. So it actually shows that the people of the national capital, in fact, the majority of the people of the national capital were actually not bursting crackers. But yes, there was a significant number who were seen flouting these norms and bursting crackers, because of which we are seeing that the AQI has yet again deteriorated out here in the national capital and is yet again in the very, very poor category. Now today, the prediction from the IMD is that once the sun is out, the wind speeds are likely to pick up and these pollutants would yet again be washed away. And that is the only silver lining for the people out here in the national capital. But remember, over the next few days as well, the AQI is likely to remain in the poor to very poor category, and in fact is likely to deteriorate yet again in the severe category as well because of the wind directions. Now what remains to be seen is to what new plans can the Delhi government and the Delhi administration make sure that they initially make, and make sure that is implemented on the ground to the T, so that some sort of immediate relief can be provided to the people out here in the national capital who have been suffering from this deteriorating air quality for at least the last 10 days. Currently, I am reporting from the pollution hotspot out here in the national capital, that is the Anand Vihar bus terminal. And if I could just show you in the visuals around here, the visibility is not as bad as it was expected. The AQI out here in the national capital remains to be in the very poor category, although the measures of GRAP 4 has been implemented. But yes, the manner in which the order of the Supreme Court of not bursting crackers was flouted by several people out here in the national capital, that has made sure that the AQI deteriorates yet again. But if you compare the AQI that is today, the very next day post Diwali, with the yesteryears, you can actually see that the AQI is not as bad as it was expected, and in fact it has somewhere or the other been better than what it was last year at this time around. Also, what we have seen that yes, there were several people who had flouted the norms and had gone ahead and busted crackers through the night on the day of Diwali. But yes, today the AQI has definitely deteriorated, but it is not as bad as it can be seen. On the other hand, we have seen a lot of politics that has already started to happen in this entire matter. The opposition leaders are already coming on record and putting blame on the BJP leaders, because they were the people who instigated people to go ahead and burst these crackers. So yes, the political blame game has already started. But if you speak about the AQI has definitely deteriorated post Diwali, but it is not as bad as it was over the last many years right after the day of Diwali. Currently I am reporting from Akshardham temple, where I could just show you in the visuals around here that yet again today cloud of smog has yet again engulfed the national capital. Remember, over the weekend we saw that there were spells of rain, which meant that the AQI in the national capital had improved significantly. But post Diwali, yet again we are seeing that the AQI in the national capital has yet again deteriorated. The main reason behind this is being said to be the manner in which the norms were flouted by the residents of the national capital even after the orders of the Supreme Court, which meant that there was a blanket ban on bursting of any sort of crackers. That was flouted significantly out here in the national capital, and that is the reason why we are seeing that the AQI out here has yet again deteriorated. Over the next few days, the IMD predicts that the AQI might improve due to the wind conditions, but if you look at the longer run over the next 1 week, the AQI is yet again going to get back into the severe category, which means that it is yet again going to be a troublesome time for the people out here in the national capital region, where yet again they would be forced to breathe in the toxic air. Now what remains to be seen as to what new arrangements or schemes can be made by the government to make sure that the AQI remains under breathable levels, because over the past 1 week we have seen that the AQI had deteriorated, which meant that there were a lot of health issues that people of the national capital were actually facing. So the next 1 week is going to be very, very important, especially from the point of view of the Delhi government and the Delhi administration, to make sure that schemes are made and implemented in such a way that the AQI remains under control and it does not become hazardous for the people out here in the national capital.
जैसा दिल्ली सरकार ने कहा था कि फायर क्रैकर्स बर्न नहीं करने, लेकिन उस हिसाब से फायर क्रैकर्स बहुत ज़्यादा जलाए गए हैं दिल्ली में। जहाँ मैं रहता हूँ वहाँ भी मेरे को बहुत देखने को मिला ये, तो मैं परेशान होकर रात को सो नहीं पाया, फिर सुबह साइकिलिंग करने निकल गया। जब से ये न्यूज़ आई थी पराली जल रही है, तो तब से मैं निकलता हूँ फील करने के लिए कि क्या वेदर में चेंज हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है, बट हुआ है चेंज।
ये मतलब पोल्यूशन का ही है ज़्यादा तो ये नीचे तो, बाकी तो सब बढ़िया है। ऐसा मास्क वगैरह भी नहीं लेके आए हम, उधर क्या सब कुछ ठीक है, यहीं पे थोड़ा सा परेशानी है।
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. We're getting some breaking developments coming in from Tamil Nadu. It looks like the war of words between the Tamil Nadu government and the governor is only escalating. This after reports now emerging that the governor in fact has sent or rejected as many as 10 bills, saying he needs more clarification. We'll try and get more details on what basis were these bills rejected. Our viewers would remember that there is a special session that is expected this weekend as well. Let's go straight to our colleague Purnima Murli, who is joining us on the broadcast. Purnima, help us understand on what basis have these bills been sent back?
Well, in fact, sources from the Tamil Nadu government say that a special session will be conducted on Saturday, and this after a governor had sent back 10 bills. These are related to universities and approvals for universities, and in fact the governor said that these bills lack legality and has sought clarification and sent them back to the state assembly, and therefore the state special assembly session will be conducted on Saturday to once again pass these bills and send it back to the governor. Clearly, war of words only escalating between the Tamil Nadu government and governor, with the governor now sending back the bills, citing lack of legality as per those 10 bills are concerned, and now the Tamil Nadu government has called for a special assembly session. So all eyes on how the session pans out and whether other opposition parties, including the ADMK, will be on board and give their assent for these bills.
Purnima, just a small clarification. We are also now understanding that these 10 bills, which in fact have been sent back by the governor because he wants more clarity or the legality of this is being questioned, we are understanding these were pertaining to various amendments as far as certain universities in the state are concerned. Could you give us more clarity on those lines?
Sources from the Tamil Nadu government say as far as appointment of VCs are concerned, and there are other bills that are pertaining to universities. Some of those were in fact sent to the governor after it was cleared in the state assembly, including the appointment of VCs, and this in fact has been sent back from the governor's office. So there are 10 bills. 2 of these were passed during the ADMK rule, and the remaining 8 were passed recently.
Purnima, we'll just request you to stay on with us. We do want to take in some political reactions from the BJP. We have Narayan Tirupati now joining us. So good to have you with us here on CNN News 18. Reports now coming in that the governor in fact has sent as many as 10 bills back because he's asked for more clarity. Now once again you will have the ruling state government, the DMK, up in arms. A special session of assembly is also being called. How do you see the developments? Because once again the intent of the governor is now going to be questioned.
The governor is right. He is the chancellor of all universities, and he is right by sending it seeking clarifications, because we have seen many states, the opposition ruled states, are trying to get the power in the universities on appointing, nominating their own vice chancellors. In Tamil Nadu especially, before 2014, at least who were all the vice chancellors in many universities in Tamil Nadu, at least 10 to 15 people, 15 vice chancellors are either in jail or in bail in a lot of corruption cases. So politically they were appointed by the ruling parties, and they were nominated intentionally to do corruption in these departments. And after in the last 10 years, absolutely there is no corruption. And that is the reason the DMK wants their own people, their agents, to be the vice chancellors of the universities, and that is the reason they are trying to put in their vice chancellors. This is the issue, this is the problem. And in 1998, Mr. Karnataka, when he was the chief minister of Tamil Nadu, the same kind of issue happened, because the previous ADMK regime had brought the
Mr. Tirupati,
government.
I'll just request you to stay on with us, because we want to take in a reaction from the DMK as well. We in fact have Salim Darindaran also now joining us. Good to have you with us here on CNN News 18. Reports now coming in that the governor has sent as many as 10 bills back, because he's saying the legality of these bills needs to be checked, needs to be verified, needs more clarity as well. How do you see the development?
See, in a democracy, people elect the representatives. Representatives in turn form a council of ministers or chief minister, right? And when a council of ministers make a decision, it's representing the will of the people. And when the previous BJP spokesperson spoke, he said DMK is a corrupt party, blah, blah, blah. The most corrupt party in the whole world is BJP. Through electoral bonds, they made corruption, they've legalized corruption, right? So they have no moral authority. Who's funding our universities, tell me? Tamil Nadu universities? Tax money of people of Tamil Nadu. Who's giving the mandate to the Tamil Nadu government to enact laws? The people of Tamil Nadu. So tax money is the people of Tamil Nadu. The mandate comes from people of Tamil Nadu. So who are you to stop and sit on those bills? Ambedkar ji has made it very clear, profoundly clear, that governor has only duties and no functions. We go back to 1940s constitutional debate. The law was discussed on the role of governor. The governor's job is to only perform duties, or I would even go and say like a rubber stamp. And what has the Supreme Court
Those are strong words that you're using, Mr. Salim. I'll just request you to stay on with us, because I just want the BJP to... One second, I just want the BJP to respond to that. Mr. Tirupati...
one more point, ma'am. No, I
one
just wanted one more point. 10 seconds.
Okay, go ahead.
What did Justice Nagesh Rao say in Peraivalan case? Governors are nothing but shorthand expression of the State Council of Ministers. Is that not settle the issue? Does he win elections? If he wants to have power, he has to go contest elections. He can go contest elections, form his own government if people give him the power. Then he can enact laws and do whatever he wants to do. That's all I wanted to say.
Mr. Salim, we're also understanding a special session as far as the Assembly is concerned has also now been called for this weekend. What is the plan of action as far as the state government is concerned?
So we will resend the bills, right? And then Chief Minister will see if any other action will have to be taken. Already there's a matter sub judice regarding the governor in the Supreme Court. After Tamil Nadu, Kerala also followed the Tamil Nadu and filed a petition to the Supreme Court. So we will wait and watch. But as of now, we want to resend the bills to the governor. Now he has no option other than to sign. That's what the Article 200 says. Either you immediately sign, or if you do not want to immediately sign, then you send back with your clarification. And when if the legislature does not want to make amends, and if you send it back to the governor will have to sign. So I think this is what we are going to do, and I think we'll immediately pass the bills as soon as we send it back.
Okay, we'll have to leave that conversation there. We'd like to thank the spokespersons of the BJP and the DMK. Well, that's the news that's coming in from Tamil Nadu. Let's move from Tamil Nadu to what's happening here in the national capital. It looks like there is a double whammy of sorts for people living in Delhi and in and around the national capital. There is toxic foam that is being reported as far as the Yamuna is concerned. The AQI levels continue to be in the hazardous category as well. And what has now come in between is the blame game between political parties, that is the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. But between these allegations and counter allegations, it is the common man that continues to suffer. Health issues only continue to increase, specifically as far as our vulnerable population is concerned. As far as the BJP is concerned, they continue to question the Aam Aadmi Party, saying that you spoke about cracker burning on Diwali, but if you look at the AQI levels, days leading up to Diwali and even post Diwali, nothing really has changed, which means that stubble burning still continues to be the main contributor as far as AQI is concerned. Before we bring in our colleagues, let's take a look at some reactions coming in.
माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट वालों ਆਦੇਸ਼ ਜਾਰੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਸਟਬਲ ਬਰਨਿੰਗ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜ਼ੀਰੋ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ। ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁਸ਼ਿਆਰਪੁਰ ਦੇ ਆਫਸਰਸ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਵੇ। ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੁਰੱਖਿਆ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਤੇ ਪੁਖਤਾ ਸੁਰੱਖਿਆ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾਣਗੇ। ਸਟਬਲ ਬਰਨਿੰਗ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੈ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਜ਼ਿਲ੍ਹੇ।
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Since September 18, when Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau first linked Indian government with Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing on Canadian soil, the relationship between the two countries have only worsened. In fact, last week as well, Prime Minister Trudeau underlined that a fight with India was not something that Canada wanted.